Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Confident Parenting Podcast. My name is Julie, and I talk a lot on my channel about things that I am struggling with. So before we get into that, what is Julie struggling with today? The latest installment. I just wanted to let you know that I am here to help you get from A to B when things feel sticky and you feel like you don't know what the next best step is. So the way I do that is I coach people one-on-one, I coach people in group settings, I help people through my YouTube videos. You'll see there's a wide range of topics that we talk about. I have an occupational therapy background and I'm a mom of 3 young kids. So I have a certain perspective and experience, skill set, I guess you would call it now. And today we're talking about meal planning because this is something that I have struggled with and will always be something I think that I find a bit more challenging than other parts of parenting. And I thought maybe today I could share with you what my changes have been, how I've shifted things to make meal planning and just basically getting healthy food on the table every day, multiple times a day with little kids easier. Now, it's not perfect and I cannot really control how my children behave. I'm talking about my 3-year-old over here, telling you for a friend. I can't control whether she's going to eat anything that I make, but at least I tried. At least I presented her with some healthy, balanced options. So I am actually going to go through in detail how I think about food for a week, how we plan, what we do, what we do for each meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, extra lunch, snack, whatever you want to call it. And just some of my philosophies or tips, I guess. Not philosophies. Well, maybe philosophies too. I want to jump right in because this might be long and detailed. And if you guys like this, make sure you give it a thumbs up so that I know and I can make more videos like this. Leave me a comment how you manage meals in your home because this has honestly been a struggle for me. I've been a mom for 9.5 years almost. And each child is so different. And I go through different phases of life. I really struggle to make dinner when I'm feeling which is a lot of the time. That seems like I'm sick. I don't feel sick. I just am exhausted by the time dinner rolls around. So some of the things that I have found helpful, I'm going to talk about in this video. So I hope this will bring value to you. Please leave your tips and tricks if you're really good at this down below in the comments and we can share and learn from each other because I think as moms, it's kind of a universal thing. I see so much food content online, which leads me to believe that it's not just me. So here we go. I also want to start with a confession that I've written down here in my notes, and that is I hate cooking dinner for my family. Yeah. It's not my favorite, and I don't dislike cooking in and of itself. I actually really like to bake. All my close friends and family will know that. I bake a lot, or I used to bake fairly frequently. And I always have the issue of who's going to eat this all because I should not be eating a whole cake by myself. But I don't really like cooking when I have to, when I'm obliged, when we're all cranky and hungry, and yeah. It's not my favorite thing. So what is more difficult for me is feeding my kids takeout food or junk food and feeling guilt about that. So that drives me. I guess it's a fear tactic. I don't like cooking, but I hate the thought of them just eating out all the time more. So I do it, but I do it imperfectly. So here are some of the things that really have helped this journey. Also, my kids eat very simply, and your kids probably eat more fancy, diverse meals than mine, and I wish that was the case. I wish mine would eat more green things. They eat simply because of me, I'm sure, because of the things that we have offered. I've noticed that food that we have consistently given them throughout their lives, they will eat and accept readily, and it's not really an issue. Food that is new to them is always a thing. Obviously, as my kids get older, they are more open to things. I think each one is tricky in their own way or fussier than the others in their own way, even if they've been exposed to the same types of food. For the life of me, I cannot get my 3-year-old to eat avocado. I would have to put it in chocolate mousse or put it in a smoothie or something for her to eat it. She told me yesterday or the day before, I don't like avocado. And to be fair, I didn't eat avocado till I was 25. So, might explain a lot. But the other ones will eat avocado with every meal, just plain. Sometimes they add a bit of salt to it. It's usually avocado toast, with lemon. every single meal because I know that consistently that's the green thing they will eat. We don't eat a wide variety of vegetables, but I do try, but I don't try all the time. I wouldn't say I don't try enough. It depends how I'm feeling. I have also done many iterations where I've cooked for us something and then I've cooked for them because I don't want to eat pasta 7 days in a row. So anyway, I'm just, bumbling through this just like everybody else. And I just wanted to put that out there that we eat a lot of the same stuff and I'm trying to branch out, but often I just don't have the energy. So maybe this video I will be able to go watch and get some inspiration from. But here we go. I am going to break up all of the meals and explain what we eat and how we do it. So let's start with the first meal of the day, breakfast. So I personally don't really eat too much breakfast. I don't always feel like eating that early in the morning, but my children are famished when they wake up. So typically, assuming we have avocados that are ripe and not hard as rocks, especially the two older ones, not the little one, we've established this, they will eat avocado on toast. It's variable. Like usually my middle child doesn't want to eat or she'll eat half. Then today she ate 2 pieces of toast. They got into a big spat because she ate the older one's food, but the older one wasn't at the table. So, it's a dog eat dog world out there. Snooze, you lose. And I had to make more avocado toast for the older one. He's usually famished by the time he wakes up. The others are a little bit slower to want food. But we do some version of that during the week for school. So avocado toast. If there's no avocados, cream cheese toast. If that's really in slim supply, maybe some like butter on toast. Like it's nothing fancy. I have done oatmeal before. We were finding it was taking a long time to cook in the morning. So we've kind of like lost that habit, but that's an option. And then on the weekends, I'll make smoothies. My older one doesn't like smoothies really. Like he'll have a few sips, but the other two enjoy them. You just got to try different things. We'll do something a bit more fancy, like maybe bacon and eggs on the weekend. I try not to do that more than once a week. Sometimes pancakes, although they're not like as into pancakes as I am. I will eat the pancakes, but they'll eat pancakes. They don't like fruit in their pancakes. Like they don't like blueberry pancakes. I do. So, we'll sometimes do that. Yogurt sometimes. I'm trying to think. Scrambled eggs sometimes. My little one will pretty consistently eat a boiled egg and a piece of toast, but not always. Like today she ate half a boiled egg and like a few bites of the toast. She's variable. It's 3. I don't know. But sometimes she's sometimes eaten 2 boiled eggs in the past. So it's like, you just really don't know what you're going to get. I guess that's why it's either what gives you gray hairs or keeps you young. I'm not really sure. I haven't decided yet. But that's kind of what we do for breakfast. Simple. We don't do cereals. We don't do pastries, donuts, none of that. I just don't believe in this sugary stuff for breakfast. Obviously, if it was a special occasion or like we went somewhere, I don't know where we would go, but say we were in a hotel and they had that and that was an option for the children to choose from. I mean, can't really stop them there. If we do pancakes with syrup, then essentially that's a sweet breakfast. Usually I make the pancakes, the ones I make, have a sourdough base, and this particular recipe has no sugar in it. So the pancakes are not sweet at all. They're kind of neutral. And then they would add syrup to it. But I think that's better than piling on the sugar. And then they're going to add the syrup on anyway because they associate syrup and pancakes. You know what I mean? Then lunch, obviously they have lunch at school. 2 of them, we make lunch for school. The other one, we order lunch at school. Don't even ask. So that's variable. But on the weekends, again, avocado toast, cream cheese toast. Occasionally I buy a rotisserie chicken, and I've done that, and I should do that more often to give them a little bit more protein. And then we do chicken and avocado sandwich, or like just a chicken sandwich, avocado on the side. I don't know. Avocado sandwich, chicken on the side. My kids don't like mixing it up too much. I hope that changes. I mean, I certainly can eat mushy mixed up things now, so I have hope for them. And sometimes I do a grilled cheese. Sometimes I do leftovers from the night before, but usually lunch is super simple. Again, I'm not really, it's hard for me to make them food sometimes. I just feel like I need a nap. I don't know. I'm going to make a video about getting in a funk and how you get out of it, because your mom life just continues. There's never any breaks. Let's be real. So I have to be able to make lunch for people. I mean, could they make their own lunch? Yes. And definitely some of them do. I haven't been as encouraging of making avocado toast completely alone because I am a little paranoid about them slicing a finger with cutting the avocado. So we're trying to teach safe practices with that. And I would kind of just rather do it myself. But, we could also probably be a little bit more self-sufficient. I'm not going to name names, but if you know our family, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, so lunch is also super simple over the weekends, or maybe we go out for lunch, or we have a late breakfast, or we go out for a bigger breakfast, then we might not have lunch, or just have like a little snack in the afternoon. And then dinner is really where I put in a lot more effort and I try really hard sometimes and I also fail hard. But what I've been finding that they enjoy, again, it's the same principle of like a protein, a healthy fat or vegetable if I can, and then some kind of carbohydrate. Like we all need carbohydrate and starch. It becomes an issue if there's too much of that. I find that affects me personally. But with my kids, they're burning up energy so fast that they, can eat cream cheese and bagels all day long and they'll probably be fine. But for dinner, things that I put on rotation, we have this thing that we call in our house South African chicken, which if you can't tell, that's where I'm from. And it's basically like a chutney and mayo sauce that you bake chicken in. So it's really easy. I mean, it's literally tray bake of chicken with like chutney and mayonnaise and salt and pepper. Now, I'm not like a huge saucy person, but when you cook this in an oven, it tenderizes the chicken a lot and gives it a lot of flavor. So it's really delicious and my children will eat it. So I'm happy about that. And then I usually accompany it with rice, but you could put potatoes or pasta, or you could put it on bread. You could have it with salad. That would probably be the smart thing to do. But with children, it's usually with rice and then a few like carrots and avocados on the side, something like that, or cucumbers. And then we've been doing a lot of sort of cut up steak and rice in fresh tortillas. So where we live in Austin, there's this amazing grocery store called H-E-B in the whole of Texas, and they make fresh tortillas in their bakery. So fresh that they go moldy over a day or two. So they're not the ones that you would buy from the shelf. And I could make tortillas, and sometimes I do. But if I don't want to make them, I go buy them from H-E-B, and I usually buy like a 10 pack because that'll probably take us a day or two to eat. And they're really good, like the small ones. And then you can customize the tortilla as you like. And also we live very close to Mexico. I love incorporating Mexican style of food. This is not necessarily Mexican food, but tortillas are Mexican, I believe. Anyway, they're using a lot of Mexican cooking and they are delicious. I flour all the way. I know corn is probably more traditional, but can't do it. And then what else? We do spaghetti bolognese a lot because that is simple and easy and it can go kind of far and it's usually pretty delicious. I usually use the Rouse pasta sauce. I don't make my own typically, but I could, or I have. And then some kind of fresh pasta or some nice pasta that we have. And then a bison mince I usually use. Sometimes I use beef, but I like to use bison. It's less fatty and I just think it's like less rich in a way and probably healthier for you. We do that. And my son really likes that and he will always eat that. He's a simple man. He's a simple guy and he would eat the same thing every single day. My middle child will tell me not again, or are we eating that again? So I try and take their feedback in the way it is intended and spice things up a little bit, but they also don't like a ton of variety. So, I can't really win. Then I've been doing a roast chicken recently with potatoes. I buy the whole chicken and then I roast it. And actually it's very easy to do. It takes a long time in the oven, but as long as you prep it ahead of time and get the cooking process started, it's pretty hands off, which is nice. I did the roast chicken with like a butter rub on it, I guess. And you can probably customize to any spices that you have. And then some lemon zest, and then potatoes and any kind of root vegetable you want. You can roast with the chicken. You don't want anything that's going to cook too quickly vegetable wise, because then it's going to be very mushy, or you'd have to add it in a little bit later in the cooking process. But that's a super easy one because then you have essentially your own rotisserie chicken. You can use it in a variety of different ways. You can also make chicken stock from the carcass. It's just a little bit more work, but it's definitely worth it. Pesto pasta, when in doubt, cook some spaghetti and add some store-bought pesto. My little one will eat that. usually. So I guess that is the green thing that she will consistently eat. So that makes me feel better. And then homemade pizza or store-bought pizza. So I bake a lot of breads and doughs and things myself, or make a lot of doughs. So it's easy to make pizza dough. I mean, you could literally just make your bread dough into pizza dough. I do that. Or Trader Joe's specifically. I haven't really found this in other stores, but they have pre-made pizza dough that they sell in their sort of fresh pasta pizza section next to the eggs, if you're wondering. And it's so good. And I usually get 2 pizzas out of one thing of pizza dough. I make the crust very thin because otherwise it's so much bread. It's a great crowd pleaser if you have people over and you want to do a quick meal and everyone can customize their pizza. And it's, who doesn't like, I mean, I know there's some kids that don't like pizza, but we gotta have some words if that's you. And then what really kicks it up a notch for me personally is if you buy fresh mozzarella. I will never go back to traditional grating of cheese. The fresh mozzarella, you can get it lots of different places. It's usually in the brine, so it keeps it, or I think maybe it has to be in some kind of brine to keep it from drying out. It's so good. It's the one you would use if you had a caprese salad, with like tomatoes and basil and mozzarella. But it's so good on pizza, and it just it makes it less heavy. It's not super oily. I don't know. It's delicious. It's the absolute best way to go. I feel like that's how they make it in Italy. And then occasionally my husband will barbecue or braai, if you're South African, and he'll make like chicken kebabs. Like Whole Foods makes really nice pre-made raw kebabs that you can make yourself, or that you cook yourself, or hamburgers or steak or something like that. I'm very wary about where we buy meat from, and I'd rather have less meat than more. That's a conversation for another video, but Whole Foods does do a good job of that, and it is more expensive, so it's not something we do all the time. But if we were having friends over or a special occasion, or maybe it's someone's birthday and they've requested it, sometimes we'll do hamburgers and stuff, but that's definitely not an everyday thing. But those are kind of typically the dinners that we have. We don't tend to eat a lot of fish, which maybe we should start doing more. And I have tried various chicken curries and or just vegetable curries and more like Indian food and Asian kind of cuisine. I really like it, but my children are not super fans. So this is really more their menu than mine. But I got to get them fed, and then I got to work on myself. And yeah, anyway. And then for snacks. So I was even talking to my husband about this last night. I have a big issue with, especially with my little one, wanting, unhealthy snacks. So like chocolate, candy, sweets, chips, anything in our house that is not healthy, like that is considered junk food. She's a bloodhound, okay? And we end up having a lot of arguments about it, and I hate it because she's so persistent. It is her mission in life to eat chocolate, and I don't want her eating that. So I try and cut back on what nice sort of more junky type of things we have. I'm not opposed to junk food, but it's just exhausting fighting with her. I remember this with Theo as well. Like when he was little, I just didn't have anything nice in our house. I had to kind of hide it just because, it's just not appropriate for a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old to be eating blocks of dark chocolate or having ice creams every night. But when it's there in front of them, they obviously are going to want it once they know what it is. And then at the same time, I want a little bit of chocolate, even though I shouldn't have too much. But anyway, it's probably a good thing we don't have too much of it, but it's been Halloween recently and we do have some leftover candy. I got rid of most of it. I actually ended up having to give a lot of it out again that my kids collected. I'm a terrible person, but I gave a bunch out again because we had so many trick-or-treaters coming to our house. That was one thing. And also I do kind of switch type of thing. So if you're interested, I will link that video down below. But basically, I buy them a little toy. Like I bought the girls a little Lego thing and an audiobook on the Yodo. Things that I would buy them anyway, that I would probably give them for their birthday or Christmas. I just kind of spread it out and give them Halloween. And we kind of just exchange the candy that way. So it's not like this candy situation where they're just so possessive around it. I don't know. I've tasted American candy, man. And it's a lot of it. Once your taste buds adjust and you're not used to it anymore, just candy in general, not American specifically, but that's the one I, know more of now. It's just gross. And I just think about the dyes and the high fructose corn syrup in there, and just there's nothing good about it. Not that candy or junk food is healthy in any shape or form, but you do get better versions of it. So I try and switch some of that out. I like the Unreal brand of chocolate, and they basically make dupe, I want to say knockoff, but they make like dupe M&Ms and the peanut butter cups. They make almond butter cups or peanut butter cups, and they're so much nicer. Honestly, they're so much nicer. They just actually have like a real flavor and taste. It's not just sweet. It's like you can actually taste the chocolate. You could taste the nut butter, and they have like Skittle kind of knockoffs, and depending on what it is, they're not as good. They don't have as much flavor as the originals. You just got to kind of find out what you like. But I don't want to ban everything. I don't want to make things forbidden and then they're like all about it when they have access to it. I don't know. I'm navigating this. It's not easy, but having solid food and having a plan and having a menu, kind of like what I've mentioned, definitely helps, because if they're actually well fed, they're much less likely to want to eat junk food. But when my 3-year-old doesn't want to eat any of the dinner, all she wants to eat is candy, it's hard. It's very difficult. And I also found yesterday she was really tired. We had the time change. She had gone to bed late the night before. She'd partied hard the whole weekend. She went to bed at 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, which was essentially 6 o'clock, but because of the time change, it was 5 o'clock. And it was, all she wanted was candy for dinner. And it's because she was tired and cranky. And then we gave her some like pesto with pasta. Oh, no pesto, I think. She didn't eat any of it. She just drank milk. But anyway, it is what it is. So let's get on to snacks quickly. Things that I like to do for snacks. So I like all the bad food. I don't want to call it bad food, but I like all the junky food, the food that's not good for you, that doesn't leave you feeling good, chips and things like that. But I try not to have that in our house because it's a downward spiral, especially for my little one, who I just don't think has an off button. But an alternative is popcorn. Now, obviously, when you have little kids, you have to be careful about popcorn as a choking hazard. So I try and do this more for my older kids and for myself. But if you are comfortable giving your children popcorn, make it yourself at home and then put nutritional yeast and salt with a bit of oil to let it stick. It is so good. Like, I just use a bit of coconut oil or something. Oh my God, it's so good. They requested nutritional yeast and some sea salt. Perfection. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else salty on here. Not really. Carrots and hummus. Sometimes we do that. I'm not super consistent with it because I find I buy the hummus and then they don't eat it. And so then I end up throwing it away and that feels very wasteful to me. Or I make it, same thing happens. So I have more cream cheese bagels. We eat a lot of cream cheese bagels because when I pick them up from school, it's like they need a whole other lunch. And that's kind of what we've settled on is bagels. Sometimes I make them. They don't like it when I make them. They prefer the store-bought ones. But sometimes I make them and then I don't make the cream cheese. But I saw a video of how to make cream cheese and it's really easy. So maybe I will do that one day. But this is not the season right now. So cream cheese on bagels, that's the other kind of saltier thing. And then they'll eat cucumbers sometimes and, as I said, carrots. But then sweet stuff, bananas, they're super into bananas right now, but they can't be too ripe. Then they won't eat them if they're mushy. Applesauce, apples with nut butter. I'll slice up an apple, do some almond butter or peanut butter. Greek yogurt and granola. That seems to be a go-to, especially for my middle daughter. She goes and gets the yogurt out and her granola. And I know that because she leaves her bowl with the remnants. What else have I got on here? I think that's kind of all for snacks. Oh, cut up melon. I personally have been really into like cantaloupe is what they call it here in the US, but like that orange melon. I don't like the green melon. Ugh. It's really delicious. I don't know. You got to find a good one though. If you find a yuck one, then it's not going to be, if it doesn't have any flavor, it's going to be disgusting. And then after dinner, we will do something called a mixed up treat, which came about because my son, I don't know what happened. When he was little, he wanted like something sweet and something crunchy at the same time. So like a cracker and maybe a little piece of chocolate, and it became this mixed up treat. And so now it's this thing we have in our family and we've perpetuated it. I don't know. It's cute, I guess. And so depending on what we have in the house, like again, I said, we try not to have too much candy, or sweet stuff, but we had people over for Halloween and we have those like tiny little ice creams. So sometimes they'll have like one of those, or puffs, like not Pirate's Booty, but like Trader Joe's has a version of that. They don't really have a lot of flavor, but those are really good. Sometimes they go and have like clementines, they're just going to have a bit more extra dinner, like it's extension of dinner. So who knows? I just try and reduce the junk food. And we do this mixed up treat typically once my 3-year-old's in bed because she can't hang right now. Eventually she'll get there. And then things that we always have at home. I just thought it would be helpful to share my list in case you need inspiration. So I just wrote a list of things that we basically always have in the pantry or freezer or fridge so that I can always make something, that you need that. So we always have frozen bagels, which we're kind of running low on. I need to get some more. Frozen sandwich bread, or I make my own bread. Pasta sauce and pasta. I mean, there you have a meal. Is it the best meal for you? Probably not, but it's a meal. Usually we have some pesto, cream cheese. Then we have clementines, apples, other types of fruit, grapes, raw carrots. We always have Greek yogurt, granola, bananas. And I'm also trying to move away from having so much packaged or so many packaged snacks. Like we do have like some seaweed for them. And we were going through this phase of like little granola balls in packets, but I don't know. I just don't think it's necessary to, and what I also struggle with is I'm fine having packaged snacks for when we're out, like soccer matches, driving, like a road trip type of thing, or we're going for a picnic somewhere, we're going to a park, or we're going to a museum and we need to pack snacks, and like that makes sense. But the problem is, unless I'm a drill sergeant about it, they want to eat all of those snacks when we're at home. And I just don't think that's necessary. That's like me putting tea or coffee in a Starbucks cup, or buying Starbucks and keeping it at home instead of just making my own tea in a cup, in a mug. I don't know. I just feel like it's so wasteful and unnecessary. Never mind that it is expensive much more expensive for packaged snacks than to just eat your own granola. Like I've made them granola bars and granola balls and things in the past. I think they really like, and I think this is what advertisers and just marketing and companies they realize, and they're very smart about it. But kids like little containers and bags, and they like the look of it. They perceive something in a package to be yummier than something mom would make. Often they don't want homemade food. They want packaged snacks. It just is. That is science. I feel like that's a fact. So I can't really compete with that. So I've just kind of phased out a lot of the snacks. We do have to provide snacks for our kids at school, not for the little one, but even Lily, who gets school lunch, we have to provide her with a snack in the morning. So then it has to be something that's not too messy and like easy for her to eat. I don't know. We sometimes just do fruit, but it kind of gets like mushy after a while. I don't know. Anyway, there's no rest for the wicked. We're packing food and snacks and lunch for somebody all the time. So that is my long ramble about food and meal planning. We usually go grocery shopping, if I'm being honest, probably twice a week at this point. Usually on the weekend, or if we run out of something, milk or something. My 3-year-old drinks a lot of milk, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. The other ones never did this, but anyway, my resilience is lower. I don't know if it's such a bad thing. It's fine. She seems okay. She doesn't drink juice, and that's really important to me because I don't want her teeth to fall out and rot. And we also struggle to get her to brush her teeth. But if we run out of milk, we'll go to the shops. I sometimes need to kill time between like activities, so I'll take them grocery shopping with me. And I think there's some element of like learning involved with them coming with me, and they can tell me what they like, and they can see where our food kind of comes from to a degree and help out and stuff. So they enjoy that a lot. And I try not go too often. Like I try and not try to go more than twice a week, because I think you just end up buying things that you don't really need. If I can grocery shop and it makes sense by myself, that is a true luxury, and I love it. And I love looking at all the new things. And this is why I don't really do online shopping, although I know a lot of people do and swear by it. So I just haven't found a super easy way to do it. So I sometimes do that. Like I'll get them to I'll maybe do order groceries for pickup versus them like delivering it. I just feel like you pay a lot in delivery fees, at least the way it's structured here. It just doesn't make sense. We'll just like easily nip over to the shop. I think my husband likes to go grocery shopping too, and like sometimes it gives him a reason to get out the house, and so he sometimes does it. We've gotten a lot better over the years about being streamlined about what we like, what we don't like. I'm very specific if he goes and buys things. I'm very specific about the quantity, the branding, the alternatives, just so that we're not wasting food, because I feel like we waste a lot. Or we can waste a lot. So I'm trying really hard to hone that in. But yeah, these are some of the things that we have been doing of late. I would love to hear yours. Please let me know what your struggles are or what your breakthroughs are when it comes to feeding your kids and being consistent with meals. I do think my mom had it right when she used to make us dinner at like 8 a.m. She would make dinner like before school, or on the weekends, maybe she would make it when we were at home. I remember being at home with her making it. Maybe that was when I was in college and I had a more flexible schedule and I was at home sometimes. I don't know. But she used to make dinner in the morning so that like the bulk of it was prepped for the evening, which I think is very smart, because by the evening I'm dead, especially after like all the after school activity and driving around and just like the stress of the traffic and everything. Like the last thing you want to do is make a big meal. So if you can batch cook a little bit and have enough for leftovers, or freeze some things, and I was making this delicious soup for myself, and I've like frozen half of it. Oh, my door just opened from the wind and it gave me such a fright. Sounds like a ghost in here. Anyway, it's better than construction, which if you've watched my previous video, you will hear the construction noise rather, because we're renovating our house. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I would love you to consider subscribing, leave a comment, give this video a big thumbs up, share it with a mom that might find it useful, or dad, and I will see you in my next video /episode/podcast. Bye.